please do join us. And on that note, I want to wish you a very good evening. Thank you for joining us today, and tomorrow we're going to make it even better. It's our Tech Digital Day, okay, so that's how we really want to rock it for tomorrow. Have a lovely evening and see you all tomorrow. Just to let you know before that, we do have a masterclass going on LinkedIn, if you wish to go in there. Thank you so much and good night. It's great. I've worked with her, I endorse her, I trust her, can you help her? And that was it. So, you know, and then that particular charity I ended up taking within 6 months. I think we had about $750,000 and to raise to helping supporting women who were also in refuge at the time. And it just was a great moment to do that. And then moving on, so I'd like to thank that. Our next speaker that's going on is Sharon Callas, Facebook. She actually worked and was trained by Facebook. I just want to run through the speakers today. Then we've got Brigitte, who's come all the way from Sevilla, who will be, she is the master of LinkedIn. And when I say that, I met her 4 years ago at an international conference. I was a speaker at that time on entrepreneurship. I think we were in Milan. And I listened to this lady. I was pretty good on LinkedIn, pretty good. And she said to me, Karen, I can make you in the top 1% on LinkedIn. I said, do it. And she did. So I actually sit, and I'm depending on what group, I'm sort of about the top 5%. I have 6,000 followers.
She's talking about...
There she is. There she is. There's the girl.
She's a bit liar.
I'm not a liar. I sit in great company with Lord Sugar. Good morning.
Nice to be here.
And with James Kahn, and with also Richard Branson probably sits at the top because he's the most liked and followed profile on LinkedIn. So I don't think I'm ever going to quite get where he is. And on that note, I'm going to lead you in, because it's a digital day. I own a company called Gateway2Digital, and I really know very little about. I am a finance person, investment. I'm not a techie. But how my journey started, I'm a person, I'm an innovator, and I'm a visionary, and I'm also a disruptor, because I enjoy making noise, and I've always been very vocal. And I'm very maverick too, so that's something else that Lord Sugar used to say about me. I do it my way, and I take risks, and I take chances, and I hold my hand up, and I'll say, I took the responsibility. If it fails, I'll say I failed. But failure's good, because you learn from your mistakes, and you go on to succeed and become a winner. Okay, we can't always be successful every time. As Richard Branson knows, he's had many failed businesses, and so have I too. And it will never ever stop me. You know, if after this Brexit, but actually Brexit's been good for me. I've had 4 new clients this week. So, you know, I had 15 proposals for new clients last week on LinkedIn alone. So, hey, what's going on? It looks like business is great. So on that note, because of the Gateway2Digital, so what we're here to talk about is, because it's a digital day, my guys are not here from South Africa. They run my company in London. I met them here, 2014, when I ran a very small event here, because I had the startup contract. So at that time, I used to work with Rockstar Youth, Rockstar International. We had about 2,000 here in Liverpool on my program. And yeah, it was a great run, and I really enjoyed that time with them, but like all things, you have to move on. So what we actually did when we were here, they then asked me would I like to do that this year. So I met these guys from South Africa. One, he's the ninja of digital marketing. That's because he is a world martial arts champion, which is Scott Fletcher. Sorry, not Scott Fletcher, Scott, that's another one, that's ANS Group, Scott Cundell. And I met him, and I don't know anything about technology or disruptive, but I'm a person that gets things. And if I see something new, I want it. I'm a bit like, I always have, if I go in a shop and there's a different pair of shoes there, or something, or a different dress, I want it and I'll have it. So I said to them, there's only, as far as I know, one other company in the world doing what you do, and it's in America. We don't have anyone in the UK doing what you do. I want it. Can I buy it? Or do you want to work with me? And he said no, because we want to bring this to London and we want to work in the UK. So I said, okay, let's form a partnership. And that was 2 years ago we started. That journey, then in January this year, we tested all the software. So email marketing, it is a journey, and it is a software called Majestic. And then January they moved over, and we actually just made it, so not bad, within a very few months. We only launched in April because we went through a testing from October last year. It takes a long time to test software, as you well know. And then this year we've just managed to get, out of 500 businesses, we were in the Virgin Room finals. We didn't make the top 6, and I believe it was a pet business that won. Is that true? So I've been told. I haven't followed up since I've been here. And they pitched to Richard Branson. I didn't do the pitch, Scott did. He did an amazing, amazing job. I couldn't have done any better myself, and I'm really, really proud how far we got. I knew we'd get in the finals, and there were some pretty awesome businesses there, but actually I didn't think that we would win, and that wasn't me being negative. First of all, there were some other businesses in there that I actually liked more so, and the reason, and they ticked more of the boxes that Richard Branson and his team, where his culture, because I've also worked for them before, so I get their culture, I knew that would be more sexy to them than what my particular platform did. So, the reason so apologies, they're not here to take you running through our software, and I'm not going to make myself look an idiot and run through it, because I'm not a techie, so I'll just explain a little bit how it works. So we made it into the top. Then the guys are from South Africa. They were homesick, they were missing their family. They were also really, really down and disillusioned because they didn't win. And it's not, I know we set out to win, but sometimes just participating and being in there is enough, and it is. So, I tried to coach them to get them back on track, and they were just deflated. See, no resilience. See, I'm one of those people, but then that's probably because I've been around in business for a long, long time. It's resilience. If you are starting and growing a business, you've got to be tough. You have to be resilient, because boy, you're going to have a lot of knockdowns. It's not, no one day is ever the same. So one day I'll wake up, even though I work off an action plan. I used to do Tony Robbins. Anyone been to a Tony Robbins? Anyone? Straight. Was a convert of Tony Robbins, and I used to run my businesses. And then last year, I wasn't very well, and one of my mentees said to me, who's Russian, and she works for the BBC. She has a very good video, and again a data company in London. And she said to me, Karen, I'm going to give you this book as a present to say thank you for where you've taken me in London. But she said, I want you to read this book. It's called The One Thing. Anyone heard of it? It's a practicing of a way you run a business. And she said, I'm going to say something to you. If you don't change the way you work, you're going to be ill. Time and time again. Because you get run down, your body's tired, you get stress, and then you have one illness on top of. So after ending up in hospital 4 times, because I'm asthmatic, so I had 4 quite serious asthma attacks, and I ended up in hospital, and they said it was stress. And then I was still going to London to meetings, and I didn't even have a voice. I had nothing, 0. What an idiot. And I read this book, and he actually said, we don't multitask, you must do one thing at a time, and you must do it well. And that's why I changed. So at this age, so you learn every day. And I've thrown my Tony Robbins out, and I've gone with these new guys from America, and I do the one thing. So I do one thing at a time now, and I do it well, and I execute it, and then I move on to the next thing. So thank you, Maria, for that book that you gave me. So even though this is with the resilience, so my guys aren't here, they've gone back to South Africa, and it's strange because it's also a perception. So when they came over to London, and I know that some of you have just started businesses in London, some of you are just about to start a business in London because, hey, we are now the tech #1 business that we've overtaken New York. They came over and were looking so much forward to it, and then all of a sudden the other things about London culturally started to impact on them. So yes, they were missing their families, but they'd come from South Africa, having a big house on the beach, a villa with a swimming pool and a tennis court, and also staff, and then the great outdoors, and they came to London, and all they can afford is a room share Airbnb in Aldgate. It's quite a bit of a different shock of the culture, isn't it? If any of you... So I have to say, and then they were having in the holidays, they would have been having their children over, and they are sharing a flat, a room basically, with a load of other people, because London's so expensive. So that was one thing they found hard, the change of lifestyle, the cost. The next thing that they said to me, Karen, what do you do at the weekend? Where do you go? We're lonely. They actually said they were like, it's very hard to make friends in London. And I worked in London for over 20 years, a little bit different from me because I come from Tunbridge Wells and Kent. I get that it can be a very lonely place if you don't know anybody. And you need to network, you need to make friends, you need to establish partnerships. So I said, right guys, I'm going to get you out at networking. So we started getting people, Google, do some great networks, WeWorks, do some great networks, Paddy Power, do some great networks, London Entrepreneurs, do some great networks, and we've even done some with our partners over there, Lawby. So I do occasionally, I host networking events, and I said, right, now that you've built up a network, Scott, the next thing is I'm going to host for you, with one of my partners, your own event, and we're going to fill it. Because you don't know anyone, but I know nearly everybody. Well, not quite, but I do know. In London, it's a very small place, and when you've been around a long time, you do eventually get to know. It's like a bit of a fishbowl, really. So what we did, we set up a masterclass for free, for 3 hours, hosting it with Lawbite in their office. And it's free, and it's just to give. You must always give something in return, to share your expertise and your knowledge. And we ended up having 300. And Scott said to me, how did you do this? And that's the value of networking and partnerships. And I can't stress enough, if you're starting or growing a business, how important it is. As you go on, as you're building your business, you cannot do it alone. You need partnerships. I call it capacity building. Capacity building. And that's why sometimes when people say, oh, how come you're still in business? How come you're still around, Karen? And I go, because I network, I capacity build, I work in partnership, and believe me, I don't ever forget anybody. So when it becomes Christmas time, I still send Christmas cards to the guys that I used to work with in America 30 years ago. And some of them are not even with us anymore. So obviously I'm not sending, but there are some people in that company. I still send Christmas cards to them. I still keep in contact with people that I worked with 10, 20, 30 years ago. I send Christmas cards to people. All those little things I keep in contact. And across the world, not just in the UK. I now live in Chester. I came up here 14 years ago, out of London. I have an office here in Liverpool, one in Manchester, and then one down in London. And I don't just work in the UK, I've actually worked, I've just been out in Vienna working. I work across Europe, I work out in South Africa. I work out, I have to be a little bit careful some of those countries, but North Africa, Middle East, Far East. I was in China last year, Australia, America. So I have, and over my career, I've built up those contacts. So when you need to say, when you're mentoring someone, and this is the value of a good mentor. Now, lots of you, there are different, this word mentor, coaching, consultant that gets thrown around. I'm actually also, I write books in my spare time. I've written 7. How I've ever fitted them in, I don't know. And I actually have a publicist in New York. That is another journey, because I used to self-publish at first, and it's very difficult to get someone in the UK to publish your books, particularly around self-help business, because there's too many of us. But I managed it eventually, and I actually feel that when you're writing, I write about my experiences through business and how I've evolved and changed. So when you go, one of my books is called Mentoring, cherry on the top. And that's what it is, to have a great mentor. You don't want a mediocre mentor, you want a great mentor. Why? I used to have, up until last year, I had 3. So, and now I have 2. And the reason is, I have one who works in my business, so he is a competitor. But boy, do I learn off him, and I trust him. And when I have a dilemma or a problem, I ask to see him, and I sit down and I have a coffee, and I'm looking to him, because yes, you must trust your own instinct, but at the end of the day, you need to sound it out with people that have more knowledge, experience, you trust, they guide you. I have that one. I have another one that is actually a lot younger than me, but he's also a multi-millionaire, and he lives not in the UK, and we get on very well. We've been friends. I used to mentor him, and now he mentors me. That's what a good job I did, made too much money. And then last year, I had another mentor, which was a coach. So a totally different thing. I brought in a coach, a guy who coaches in America, and they call him like a spiritual coach, and I needed someone who wasn't related to business to give me what we all want, real life balance in life, because you need to have all the compartments of your life working well in order to start and grow a business. Sadly, he died of a heart attack last year, and the irony of that, his name is Carl Malik. Hi Carl, I'm still here. He said to me a couple of years ago, Karen, if you don't stop working at this pace, you will have a heart attack. And then sadly, he had a heart attack at a retreat last year. So he obviously wasn't taking his own advice. So I'm saying to you, for a mentor in business, a great mentor is someone you know, you trust, never lets you down, is consistent, but another thing, contacts. So for example, I don't know everybody in the world, but more or less, if you put your hand up, if you asked me for a contact in, if you said, anyone want to give me an example in the audience? Who's looking for a contact in some industry? Right, fashion, okay. This afternoon, we've got Nancy Cruikshank. Don't know if you've heard of her. You should have heard of her as another woman. She's coming up here speaking. She's coming all the way up from Somerset for 1 hour just to speak to us. And she has one of the biggest online businesses in fashion and beauty in the UK. So it's who you know. And those contacts, you guide, you're very protective over them. But then when you start mentoring somebody, and you get into the flow, you get to know and trust them. But also, when you're mentoring someone, you learn. So for me, it's a two-way thing, it's a journey. So if I'm mentoring someone and I don't feel the love, number one, If I feel it's unpleasant or uncomfortable or it doesn't make me happy, I won't continue, and I don't care how much they're paying me. And then number 3, I like to come away and think, I'm energised, I'm motivated, I'm inspired, I've learned this off them today. And then when you start the relationship, you can then say when you're mentoring someone, oh, this person might say to you, we'd love to get in front of James Calm. Giving an example here from one of my mentees. Do you know him? I said, I know of him, yes, but so we had to do it in another little roundabout way because he doesn't take unsolicited emails, and that's not how you're allowed to approach him. I said, I'll make it happen. I'll get you in front of him. So we're still waiting for an answer on that, aren't we? So you see, that's because you trust them, and you then have a great partnership. A great partnership. So, on that, I just want to go over to we've got Sharon, okay, in the back delivering Facebook, who used to work for Facebook. She will actually show you. You will never ever have to again pay for Facebook ads. Sharon started to work with me, okay, she said, you'll never pay for Facebook ads again, Karen. I'm going to tidy up your Facebook because it's a bloody mess. I said, don't talk, I don't know what's going on. I've had so many people who said they know what they're doing with Facebook. And she said, it's a mess, but you'll never have to pay for Facebook ads again. So she's cleaning it up, and we're getting actually a better response without paying. Isn't that what you want? So that's who Sharon is today. And then, of course, we've got Brigitte on LinkedIn. I'm just going to go around the room for you, my sponsors and partners. So let's have a look at finance, the alternative finance market. Now, when I jumped into this market in 2014, there were only 2 of us, then 3 of us. Oh, I think my little friend is talking. So, when I jumped into this market, there are now just over 300, I think, and there seems to be a new one every day. But I work again with people that I trust and know, and they're going to become my premier partners because we're relaunching my new platform for investment and finance solutions, and they will become my premier partners. So, in the corner there, we have pension-led funding, which is Clifford Asset Management. And these are one way, one way you can have a look at it is unlocking your pension to actually use to start and grow your business, which I did. I know I don't look old enough. I was waiting for that. And that they also own another business, which is an alternative finance platform. I think you've got about 85 different types of finance. And they are really the #1 alternative finance platform in the UK. Over in the corner there, we have another one, Just Cash Flow. And these guys, never mind going to the bank. Who's been to the bank and been turned down? Yes, I've done it myself. I actually wouldn't even bother going to them. And actually with Bitcoin and so many other disruptive, I do predict, so you heard it here first, I think banks will become obsolete, and so they should. So I don't really need them. So if I wanted today, by 12 o'clock guys, 1 o'clock, if I needed, based on my invoices, whether a quick loan, okay, this is the new bank. You can actually put an application in 9 o'clock and have it in your bank account by 1 o'clock. How cool is that? It's just moved on. And this is the alternative, one of the type of alternative finance banking. So moving around the room, let's have a look at other alternatives. Crowdfunding. Who has crowdfund? Who is going to crowdfund? Who'd like to do crowdfunding but doesn't know where to go or how to do it? Okay, investor in the corner. These guys are from our Northern Europe cousins, I think we could say. There's lots of great stuff coming out of Northern Europe, very, very disruptive, and particularly in the crowdfunding. So when I first worked in crowdfunding, which was in the USA, before it was in the UK, and then it was a lot of this peer-to-peer, And then we sort of went into equity. So these guys, they've got lots of money. So for those of you here today who want to do a crowdfunding, would like advice, okay, go and see them. Okay, right, now let's just have a look. They're the ones in the pink t-shirts. Have you brought my t-shirt in today, by the way? Right, let's have a look at some of my other partners in the room that support business. Lawbite. They were one of the first, again being disruptive online. Because whenever we start and grow a business, we need legal support and guidance. Boy, isn't that expensive? An expense we don't need. These guys do the documents online, and it's a lot cheaper, it's affordable when you're a growing business. So there we are, Lucy over there. And next, just coming around, sorry Lizzie. And then we'll just look at who else we've got. One of our main sponsors, American Can. These guys, Lee, as you can see, my judges are not here for the pitching yet, because I think 3 of them went on the town last night. So they've obviously had a little lie-in this morning, haven't they? I'm sure they will be here eventually. So, right, America Can. This guy, Lee, Akhtar, who is their founder, CEO, he's actually a lawyer. He is from Liverpool. So, you know, great people and great things happen in Liverpool. Bearing in mind, this is International Festival of Business 2016. This guy, if you want to, he's actually one of my investors. He's a very dear friend of mine. He's got a heart, a really big heart. And if you're looking for an experience for your children, your cousins, an experience for not just about having some fun in the holidays, but doing some learning, these guys are great. He is smashing the world. He's in Cambodia and everywhere. And actually, because I've just been working in Austria, I'm going to take him out to Austria as well. It's who you know, isn't it? And it's contacts. So, and just in the corner here, we have Taurus. I've just started working with them. And they are a financial support group. And what they actually do that's quite different, they are, those of you franchising, is anyone looking at franchising, wants to franchise, wants to take a franchise internationally across the world? That's what these guys do. So these ones are the ones to see you. They also do accountancy packages for entrepreneurs. So there's lots going on. And then in my left at the back here, one of my main, this event is sponsored by Tech North. They are based in Manchester and also Sheffield. They're part of Tech City UK. They are about to announce today their new CEO. I hope it's someone that I know very well. And I think, fingers crossed, I think it is, I hope it is. Which will be great for me, because I'm actually then going to be taking a strictly digital, not a strictly dancing tour, though I'd love to, a strictly digital tour through the UK, and we've already had confirmed sponsors of Barclays, and hopefully, so that's a great one coming up for the winter. So there are lots going on for you. Please enjoy. I'm just about to get my speakers. I have judges. I see one of them has arrived. And I think we have someone who's standing in for Lee. He's the finance director. Anyone coming up to start the pitching in 5 minutes? No? So how many judges have we got? So last night, until they arrived, we had after here an event, because it's very important for companies always to have corporate social responsibility, and it's not just about always taking. Yes, we want to make loads of money, shed loads, yes, but you don't have to. I think if you'd have asked me 30, 20 years ago, I can remember when I had 2 very successful businesses in London. I had a dating company, and I took it within 5 years to a 10 million profit. And I also had a training and development company. So I worked with top FTSE companies from Pricewaterhouse, Benson, the banks, although they were clients of mine. And I can remember saying things like, I was a bit like, what was her name, Naomi Campbell, I only get out of bed for a certain amount. That doesn't apply to me anymore. It's not about the money. So last night we hosted for Clare House over there, Tony. We hosted an event for drink. We gave a free drink, lots of it. I believe there was only 3 bottles of red wine and all the magnums of champagne went. I probably drank most of it, knowing me. And we also had great food, which was done by Din, who again I'm his mentor. Asian Fusion, and looks like we found some investment for him yesterday. And we managed to raise on the rooftop of Launch 22, co-working space in Liverpool. If you're looking for somewhere for a business and you're based here in Liverpool, these guys give you excellent support. It's very cheap to have an office space. They've got a great roof terrace to party and the views of the whole Merseyside. And I do some free mentoring for them and finance for free for them. So just to give something back, and they then gave something back to me because they hosted the event last night. So we managed to raise from the auction last night, we managed to raise £1,000. So today, at 4 o'clock, we are going to be selling raffle tickets in a moment, and we've got some great prizes, so we're going to try and see if we could match that today. So Tony will be coming round with some raffle tickets on your way out, if you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen. So, on that note, moving back to just waiting for our first pitch, but I've only got one judge at the moment. So what I'm going to do, I think I better sit on the judging panel. I know this morning that Lee's had to go to hospital to have his cast off, but he said to me his finance director was standing in. We also had an apology this morning from GP Bullhound, or one of our investors. They also had to pull out this morning because there's something quite important going on in London today. With regards to our banking system. So the Cabinet have called them for an urgent meeting down in London, and that is why Adam Taverna this afternoon, is the chairman of Pension and Funding, cannot make it as a speaker today. So, but we will have Anthony instead. So are you ready? Is Jonathan Fowle round? I did see him. Probably got to get a coffee. And I think what we'll do is we'll swap in. Do you want to do some comparing, or do you want to judge? No, you'll judge, because you're the techie. We were going to do a double act, but I might have to go on as a judge. Do you want to do some comparing?
No, I can be a judge.
You sure?
Yeah.
Don't you want to work with me today? Let's do a double act. All right, well, we haven't got any people at the moment. So let's have some questions about this event. So for those of you who attended yesterday, I'm just going to talk about the standard of the pitching. It was excellent. It was so great. The standard was very, very high. And I can tell you already, prior to the event, we had already found an investor for one of our businesses based in Ireland, because it's an international, 1.2 million for a data company. Yesterday, I can tell you that 4 out of those that pitched yesterday have been offered investment. So in total, we're looking at between 3 and 4 million yesterday. So well done. Yeah, well, and that's to my judges. So today, let's see if we can double that. So, right, 5 minutes they'll be here. 5 minutes the judges. So that was great. What did you think? Was there any pitch yesterday, a business that stood out for you? Yes? This gentleman? The dog collar one. Oh yes. That was these guys, you know, the ones that came from Korea. Did you see those? The dog, the tagging. They have actually from yesterday. They have been they've been offered investment and they've accepted it. And so that was one of those that actually did very well. So it was worth flying here from Korea, wasn't it? Any other business yesterday that stood out for you? Oh gosh, yes, the advertising. What are they called? Oh, offer moments. I like that, but it did scare me because I thought they might be able to see what you've got on underneath. So that's what I was frightened of. So it's one of those. So today, these were actually our main sponsor. I think they are pretty classy. We are giving at 4 o'clock, Nicola Horlock, and Jonathan found some of our other sponsors, and Lee. It's the best pitch for Gateway to Enterprise, so that was yesterday's pitch, and today for the digital best pitch. So we will be doing that about 4 o'clock today. So what I'm going to say to you about pitching, I'm going to give you, sorry to keep you, I know you've been waiting for this moment, just waiting for my judges to get here, and they've said they're on their way. Right, I've coached a lot of businesses for pitching. So I've coached a lot of winners on Dragon's Den. I don't know if you were just giving an example, the tea company from Liverpool. I don't know if you remember that. I used to coach them. So I've had a lot of successes with companies that I've actually mentored to pitch. And I've also pitched myself. And I haven't pitched for a long, long time. And then last year, early last year, I found myself pitching again. Boy, and it's scary. I thought, my God, this is really scary. And I had to do a pitch to Jack Ma, had to do one to a board, oh my God, most frightening, a board of men of a certain age in suits who didn't move their faces. It was like they had permanent Botox on. And I walked in there, and I'm pretty much normally a very confident person, and let's face it, I've coached many businesses. And I thought, well, I've got this far to them. I've got in the last 6, so I think I'm doing something right. For about 30 seconds, I didn't know what to say because they were so scary. There was no expression. And when I got through, I knew, when I got through my pitch, got to the end, all they were interested in is, and that's a good job, I have a good memory, and I rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed my pitch over and over again, to my husband, to the dog, to the neighbour, in the mirror, watching my body language, and I knew it'd be about numbers, all about crunching numbers. Turnover, sales, traction, profit, net, and you need to have those in your head all right away. You can't go a piece of paper, fumble, and they need to add up. So when you're pitching today, if you say your valuation is a £3 billion business and you've only just started, they're going to ask you your traction. Have you got any traction and how are you going to get there? And that's another thing, little bit of advice when you pitch, traction, evidence, and that is very important too. There's a couple of things I'm going to point out from pitching that I noticed yesterday. Two things you never ever do. You walk in with one idea, so the guy that had the car, the Beatmobile, yeah, and then all of a sudden we were talking about drones and apps, totally lost me. Please don't. You do one thing, remember what I said? You do one thing and one thing only and you do it well. Timing. I know you maybe thought I was being very nasty yesterday, being the grumpy judge, well, not the judge, the complex. But of course, when they say to you, you have 90 seconds, you have 3 minutes, you have 5 minutes, or 15 minutes. That is what you have, and that includes your video. Next thing, it is always, there are 2 things I like to have: a good video of 60 minutes to 90 seconds. I think that's imperative to pitch. And the next thing, I use decks. Now, when I do my pitch, there's pitch deck, they're a good one, Forbes do a good one, there are some examples on my site, and there are about 12 slides. Now you can slightly change them according to your business model or the culture of the business that you're in, and another thing, who you pitch to. So for example, if I was pitching to Chinese, I would change my pitch, because I can more or less tell you now from having pitched to them, from slide 3, normally I would have my sales figures in slide 7. With them, no, it goes to 3, because I know they're going to jump in straight away and ask you, before you even get to 7. Numbers. So again, you need to know who your judges are. So when you're pitching today, I hope you've been on my website and you've looked at what our judge's background is. And this isn't why. Because what is sexy to one judge isn't sexy to another. And that's because, so for example, James from Tech North, it's obviously tech digital. Lee, who's coming later, he does like businesses that are sort of a little bit disruptive in the tech. Doesn't have to be tech, but they have to have a digital platform. So there are 3 businesses there yesterday that I know he's already made appointments for meetings to invest in 3 businesses yesterday. So that's amazing. And I'm really looking forward. All this information, by the way, will go up on my website. And if you're a member, free, Gateway2Enterprise.co.uk, newsletter that goes out every week on a Thursday for free. All this for the next 2 weeks, we will share this information with you. And the next thing, it's just making sure that you know, right, my judges are here. That's great. So I'm just going to make apologies. GP Bullhound have made apologies because of the meeting they've been called, which I said in London today. Well, that was their excuse. And Steve Smith, well, I don't know where he wasn't out partying with us yesterday. And who else? And of course, Lee did say he's finance director. He has gone to hospital to have his cast off, but he will be here this afternoon. So, let's rock and roll, and let's introduce you to our judges. So, first of all, James, not John.
Hi everyone, I'm James from Tech North. For those of you who don't know, Tech North is a government-funded initiative to support the tech sector across the north of England. We have initiatives like Founders Network, which gets all the tech founders together, great workshops. We also have Northern Star program launching soon, which is also a kind of pitching competition to find the 10 best startups in the north. We also have a skills and talent program. And the most important thing of all is, of course, investment, which is a bit unlooking after, trying to improve access to investment across the north of England. Thanks very much for having us.
Thank you, James. We were going to do a double-act duo this morning, but you've been safe from listening to my singing voice. Jonathan, Rockstar Group.
Good morning, everyone. Is it morning? It is morning still. Okay, good.
You've just got up, have you?
I have. Well, sort of, kind of. Liverpool, good to be back. Thank you so much for having me. I love this city. Every time I come here, I always have such a fabulous time. Hospitality was lovely last night, Karen. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I own a company called the Rockstar Group. Inside that group are a number of different companies, but we are a specialist investment firm. We invest in good businesses. We work with partners. We have our own crowdfunding platform. We have our own law firm. We have our own hedge fund. But we also work with the likes of Investor, which is a fantastic equity crowdfunding platform as well. And what makes us different is 9 years ago when the company started, I've always believed the best way to achieve success in business is to find someone who's already done what you want to do and get them to show you how to do it. So I went and built this fantastic network of mentors, guys and girls who have started, built up, sold companies for multiple millions. And so now what we do, and I'm looking forward to the pictures today, because when we find businesses run by great people with great products, great margins, the ones that we invest in are the ones that I think, who do I already have in that sector who is very famous, very well known, and knows every single person that that company needs to make sales. So what I do is when we invest in the company, I then gift a big portion of the equity that I've just bought into, and I give it to them. I give it to the mentors. And so I can incentivize these guys to make your companies grow and move a lot faster than what it would by yourself. So looking forward to another round of great pictures today.
Thank you, Jonathan. Lorna.
Morning everybody, I'm Lorna Davidson. I'm the CEO of the Mothership Group. I am a serial entrepreneur and I apologise for that because when you do it once and you know how hard it is, you should stop, but I've kept going. So what we've done in the Mothership Group is we've started 4 new businesses and a new charity, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to be disruptive, but we're trying to use technology, and we're trying to have as much fun as possible in the journey. So it's all good fun. Thank you.
And that's what I love. Business should be fun, and if it's not fun, you shouldn't be doing it. Okay, sorry to keep you after. I hope you enjoyed yourself last night. Thank you for coming all the way from Poland. And yes, I will take you up on your invitation to come over and see what you're doing out there. Most certainly. Take it away. Thank you. Tell you what, you will work it in Liverpool. Big round of applause. Okay, we're just going to make a warlock out. We're going to just confirm with my judges to do the awards for Gateway2Enterprise. Yesterday, best pitch. It's about the pitch, and also Gateway2Digital for today. So please hang around. And we have, if you want to go into the other room, Nancy Cruikshank is there, one of the biggest online platforms in the UK for beauty business. You need those, and I know some of you want to speak to her afterwards. So just give us 5 minutes and we'll be with you. 1 minute. 5.